Hello, I'm Chris Barker. Welcome back to another episode of Roundtable, and today we will be discussing Electric Light Orchestra's best album openers. Now, this is originally a part of a larger episode on Electric Light Orchestra. I will have a link to that in the corner and in the description, but this part ended up being cut out and is made its own episode. This isn't really our complete thoughts on the subject. We may do a follow up at some point. But I'm going to urge everyone to like and subscribe to this video. And today I have with me my co host Ben,
Hello.
Matthew, and Santiago.
Hello there.
Oh, what? Matthew mentioned something about what the best album opener on an Electric Orchestra album was. Eldorado has the best album opener. I'm gonna say
I
that.
may I speak?
Yeah.
I disagree. I think the best album opener for an ELO album is 10-5-38 or Overture, which is their first song that they've done as a band, and I think that's like the best one they did. No.
I
I think
mean,
Shine a Little Love is like another really good one. I thought I was gonna say that was the best opener. I think Turn This to Stone is a really good opener too. But I think 10-5-38 Overture is their best one.
and that's fair. Sadly, Electric Orchestra 1 is the only one of their albums up through Bounce of Power now that I don't have on vinyl, but, I do like, as I said, 1 and 2 quite a bit, and as I said, I think, obviously you do have, I think, must-have tracks like the one Matthew's talking about, the Overture on the first album, and you do have Kuyama on the second album. I mean, both of those, I would say, are must-listen ELO songs. Um, but and Showdown on Your Day is a must-listen ELO song. And Mama Bell probably is too, but I feel like if you're looking at them as albums, not just like having one song, not just as being vehicles for a single, On the Third Day is weaker, and also, Matthew, I'm going to disagree with you. The best ELO album opener is Can't Get Out of My Head from Eldorado. It perfectly sits the tone of the story. It is honestly maybe the best song, just in general. It has this dreamlike feeling, but also quite a bit of emotion and frustration behind it. Um, it has some of Jeff Lynne's greatest lyrics. It's just a great song, and it's made even better when compared to the counterpoint that is the song Eldorado from Eldorado. That's the finale. You can really sort of, I guess, fill those, and it really bookend the album perfectly. And so I think Can't Get Out of My Head, both as a song opening album, but also as what the song does for the album in terms of starting it off perfectly and also starting the album's story off perfectly. I think that's the best ELO album opener.
For me, Electric Light Orchestra, most of the albums have great openers. Like, can we agree with that? Like, I think most of the albums always start in such a great way. You know,
I'd
like
say the only
there's
yet
this
album
moment.
of Electric Orchestra's, at least up through Secret Messages, that I'd say has a not very good opener was On the Fjord Day. Every other one I'd say has a pretty great opener.
I think like in a row, almost all of the '70s albums start have a great opener. In my personal opinion.
Yeah. Well, the record executives, as well as the artists themselves, both, in a lot of cases, looked at trying to put at least one good song on the trying to put one of the album's best songs at the start of an album to try to, I guess, if they were letting people like sample them in the record store or whatever by listening to one track off of them, if they weren't buying it just because of the single, they did try to, I think, put always a strong track at the very opening to draw people in. Um, I've seen this with other artists as well, including on albums that are less good than Electric Orchestra's albums that are a lot less consistent than Electric Orchestra's albums, oftentimes tend to try to put their stuff up front. It's not always the hit single, but sometimes it is what they thought was going to be the hit single. Um, Okay, so before we go on to the best free album one, because we've gone a little bit off topic here, we've been talking about best album opener. Ben, what do you think is the best Electric Orchestra album opener?
That's a good question. I had not really thought about that, but I think that it may be. Well, okay. I don't know how you. I just. I mean, it's obviously Twilight. What are we talking about here? What are we even talking about here?
Um,
I mean, I don't know how I didn't hear you all say that.
Twilight's
That
great.
seems really obvious.
Twilight's great, and I do consider it one song with prologue. But I will say I do think it's just barely edged out by "Can't Get It Out of My Head." Um,
I don't agree.
I mean, all of them. I mean, Time. You have Twilight. That's a great album opener. Discovery. It has a good album opener. You know, Out of the Blue. You have Tombstone. That's a great album opener. A New World Record. You have Tightrope. That's a great album opener. Face the Music. You have Far on High. That's a great album opener. Eldorado. Though you have Can't Get Out of My Head. That's an absolute banger, and it works very well in conjunction with the last song of the album. They really bookend the story very, very well. Was Twilight? Twilight's a great song. It doesn't work very well in conjunction. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't work well in conjunction, okay? But it's not necessarily made better by Hold On Tight or Epilogue. Can't Get Out of My Head and Eldorado really, I think, complement themselves very well. Complement each other. I Can't Get Out of My
Okay,
Head, even on its own, I think, though, would be a great track. It is, I mean, a great track. And I do think it is one of the best, both for what it does as an opener to an album, as the opening track, but also on its own. But both of those combined, I think, make it the perfect opening. Now, Twilight does it quite well. Twilight's probably the second best one, then followed by Tightrope or Torn to Stone. I'm not sure which one, or maybe Matthew's pick with Overture. But yeah, they do tend to have great album openers, except for On the Field Day.
so here's what I have to say in response to that. I have a couple things. So first, I will agree that Can't Get Out of My Head is the best song on Eldorado, but it is not the album opener, number one. And number two,
If Can't Get Out of My Head is not the album opener of Eldorado, then Twilight's not the album opener of Time.
Time's prologue is tiny and is often combined with
Time's prologue is literally has the exact same methodology to it as Eldorado Overture from Eldorado.
yes, but one of them is longer than the other. I'll agree that they're following the
Overture's a
same
little
rule.
bit longer, but I really consider it. Honestly, like when I reviewed Eldorado, and everyone should watch my review of Eldorado, I didn't really count it much as a song when I did the final song rankings. I count it as a movement, a bookend, an opening credits, so to speak, of like a movie. It's like if I said my favorite scene of like Star Wars was the opening crawl. Now, there are movies with good opening credits that you could justify, like the Muppet movie, and say that its best scene is like the opening. But it's like if I said my favorite scene of Star Wars was the opening call. Like it's great, it's iconic, but I'm not counting it as like a full-fledged scene if I'm going to say what the best scene is.
Yeah, I mean, what was I going to say? I just think the issue is that prologue. I mean, it's over a minute long, I guess, but the length of the Eldorado Overture is, I think, long enough to consider it long. I mean, it's over 2 minutes long. I mean, I agree that I'm not gonna be like mad about you saying that Can't Get Out of My Head is the best one, but like, you got Twilight's a better song than Can't Get Out of My Head. That's just how it is. I don't know what else to say.
It's not true.
It is
It's
true. It
not
just is true.
true.
I think
Did you
Eldorado
rank?
Overture adds up a lot of energy to the beginning of the whole album overall. Like without that overture, that album will be a bit way too different. So I really like the opener of the Eldorado. I think adds up a lot of energy, that overture, and I love the transition it does with "Can't Get Out of My Head." It's great.
Yeah, I consider them really kind of like prologue. It is shorter, but they're both, someone speaking over, you know, the introductory sort of paragraph. They're not like an actual, like if you're writing an essay, Ben, it's not a paragraph of like the main thought. It's like the introductory paragraph. I'm counting Twilight and Can't Get Out of My Head as the first tracks on their respective albums.
Okay. I mean, I guess the question just is a bang before I dig Twilight's a better song. They can't get it out of my head, which I do.
They're both 10 out of
Um,
10 songs.
let's see. Let's think about what I think about. Can't get it out of my head. I mean, it's a good song. It's the best song on that album. Um, but it's like a 9.9, but Twilight's like a 10. I mean, I gave when I was thinking, and they don't need to talk about this too much, but like when I was like looking at like each of your songs or whatever, I gave Twilight one position higher in this year than I gave Can't Get Out of My Head. So it does suggest like it's roughly
Yes, but
equivalent.
but you got to keep in mind 1981. Once you get in the 80s, you start having weaker competition to some degree.
The competition in
Although 81
1974
was a
was
pretty
pretty
good
weak.
year. It's honestly it's
74,
later.
74 was pretty weak. It's often
74
considered like
is
the worst year of
probably
music.
74 is probably the weakest year of the 70s for music, but still a pretty good year. You do also have like Neil Young's at On the Beach and some other good stuff. Queen released a good album that year, Show Heart Attack.
Yeah,
But yeah,
but
Eldorado really was the main sort of course that year. I mean, it is the album, in my opinion, of 1974.
1974, I think, is just generally regarded as of like I don't know when we're starting musical modernity with I don't know Chuck Berry or something. Um, till the present, I think generally 74 is considered the weakest year, or at least of the 20th century's second half in music.
I mean, 1974 was probably the weakest year until, like, if you look at the sheer number of good songs, probably the weakest year until 1985. But still, it's a pretty good year.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the competition against Twilight 81 is a better year than 80, I guess. At least there's more going on in it. I would say 81 is pretty clearly a better year than 1974
Alright.
musically, which is not to say that there's not good things that came out in 1974. They'll definitely all other than Eldorado. But it's almost, yeah, Eldorado ends up being kind of a defining piece of that year. Even though maybe it wasn't as such at the time.
I mean, Electric Light Orchestra, Neil Young, and Queen were really the people who really did, like, great stuff in 74, okay? A lot of people, I think, took the year off. Bruce Springsteen took the year off. The Who took the year off.
Also, Wings. It was amazing.
Oh, yeah, you
Paul
said,
McCartney Wings. I think it's great in the 70s.
yeah. Um, yeah, John Lennon had some pretty good songs in 74 as well. One of my favorite John Lennon solo songs came out that year, actually, Number 9 Dream. But that is straying, I think, a little bit from the topic of electrical orchestra, so... Alright, thank you everyone for watching this shorter episode of Rock Roundtable. This was originally, as I said, part of a longer episode, so do be sure to go watch that, and maybe check out our other episodes as well. Once again, if you like the video, like it, subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.